If you want what I have, to become a master at martial arts, you have to pour out what you know to be true. And so he poured out the cup of Coca-Cola so that I can fill your brain up with my knowledge. And then he refilled the cup with the water. And so essentially the whole process of manifestation for me boils down to emptying your cup. So emptying what you know to be true, emptying the things that you give your attention to, that you give your focus and energy to, and then filling it up with things that you do want to give your attention to.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. Hello and welcome. You've landed on Zero Limits Living. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. Every week I bring you inspiration and information to transform your life. This show is now so popular you can see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms across the galaxy, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, YouTube, and probably anything you're using or anything you can name. To make it easy for you, I'm putting all of the episodes, 106 or 7 of them so far, in one place. You can go and binge. Go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com. Next, people ask me about coaching all the time. I created a coaching program 20 years ago. It's proven to work. It's a system. It's a strategy that a lot of people have already gone through. Trademarked it 15 years ago. If you're curious, no charge, no obligation, go to miraclescoaching.com and check it out, miraclescoaching.com. My latest program is mentaltimetravelsystem.com. I'll say no more. Just go to mentaltimetravelsystem.com after the show. Also, my latest book is Unexpected Kindness. Go to unexpectedkindnessbook.com. Audio is there, Kindle, hardcover, paperback. It's all there for your enjoyment. My next book, coming July 2024, is Zero Limits Living. Go to ZeroLimitsLivingBook.com. You can pre-order it and check it out and see all the testimonials. The Los Angeles Tribune says it's the book of the year. Zero Limits Living. All right, now to the matter at hand. What I'm trying to do here is to help you. I don't get paid to do this. My guests don't get paid to do this. We are doing this as an unexpected act of kindness to give you a leg up. A lot of people want to know about The Secret, the law of attraction, how to manifest their own reality. I was in the movie The Secret. I've written lots of books about the law of attraction, including The Attractor Factor, Attract Money Now, The Awakened Millionaire, Money, Love, Speed, and about 85 other books. But I'm not going to be doing the talking today. I'm going to have my guest do it. He's an expert on the law of attraction and the art of manifestation. He's written several books, including the one I have in my hand right now called Focused Manifesting. Focused Manifesting, 11 Laws on Manifestation to Master Your Mind and Attention. And my guest is Ryuu Shinohara. Ryuu Shinohara, how are you?
Dr. Joe, thank you for the introduction. I am fantastic. Life couldn't be better.
And I know you're in Japan at this point. Are you doing more research or are you living there?
Yeah, so this is actually my first trip to Asia. I've actually been almost a month in Japan now. I'm in Okinawa, Japan, which is one of the islands off the coast of Japan, one of the so-called blue zones where people live until 110, 120 years old. So it's really interesting being here. This is actually the birthplace of Ichigo, if you're familiar with the goal-setting philosophy.
Yes, the Japanese philosophy. Are you planning to live to be 110?
I don't know if I want to live that long. Maybe 100 years would be good. But
years, right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, while you're there, are you learning or studying or researching about the law of attraction, manifesting, creating your own reality? Are you there in part to do that?
So it's a little bit of a vacation, a little bit of research. I always like to think that traveling is in and of itself research because
Mhm.
I gain experience, I immerse myself in new cultures, I expand my awareness of the world that we live in and other types of people and the way that they think. And so I would say that it's a little bit of research for sure.
Right,
Whenever I put myself in places that I'm not really familiar with,
right.
it's always an expanding experience, right?
Yeah,
I
it
always learn a
stretches you.
lot. So,
Yeah, I've seen the same thing. It
mhm.
stretches me. I'm learning new lands. In fact, I've been to Russia twice, and that's like going to another planet. And going to any of the other ones like Thailand or Sweden or Italy, there's a culture, there's a lifestyle, there's a mindset that's different from what I was born and raised in. So naturally, traveling stretches us. Well, talking about stretching, you've written some really fantastic books, and I am openly complimenting you on those. I have written law of attraction books, and so I keep learning and keep researching. I want to find out, is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything I can know better? Is there another way of expressing an idea so I can help more people? And I stumbled across your books, including this one here, The Focused Manifesting. And I love the writing. I love the clarity. I love the examples. So I want to give you a standing ovation for doing so well. And you look like you're 12. You're very young. I'm kidding. You don't look like you're 12, but you're very young. How did you learn
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this about the law of attraction and write all of these books so quickly? Most people are still struggling.
Yeah, so my journey with the law of attraction actually started really early on, actually with you, Dr. Joe. I remember riding in my dad's minivan, and back in the day, they used to have those minivans with the little TV on top. And I remember when I was maybe I can't remember how old I was, but he was actually playing the movie The Secret, right?
Wow. Wow.
So really early on, when I was a kid, I was introduced to the law of attraction, manifestation. Uh, I even read the book. I remember my parents gave me the book. It was The Secret for Teenagers. It was
Oh,
this
wow.
blue book. It
Hmm.
was kind of like a subcategory of the movie. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, really early on, I've been in touch with all of this stuff, but I didn't really start to practice it like wholeheartedly until maybe 18, 19 years old, when I got out of high school. And then and then from there, I started to go through my own struggles, right? I grew up a very insecure uh, kid. And when I was 16, 17, I went through this really bad skin condition that made me even more insecure. And then eventually I started to separate myself from friends, from family, kind of isolated myself. And in that isolation, I actually opened up a lot of space to listen to my own intuition and what I really wanted. Right. So that's a big thing
Hmm.
that I learned is, when you separate yourself from, the crowd, from what society thinks you need to be doing and all of this stuff, it sort of opens up space for you to think for yourself and really reinvent the path that you're on. And so from there, I decided to travel, right? That was one of the insights that I gained during that period in my life.
Hmm.
And I traveled to Madrid, Spain for 6 months. I did
Right.
a little study abroad program there.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, and then when I came back, I started to study the law of attraction, decided that I wanted to write books, and everything took off from there.
That is fantastic. What a great story, and what great parents you must have that they were playing the secret for you when you were a kid. Did you take to it or were you rebellious? I know as a kid, if my father said to do something or my mother, it's more like, no, I'm not going to do that because mainly because they told me to. It's
Yeah.
just you rebel. But did you receive it? Did you rebel?
So I actually received it really well. Um, I was really open to it. I knew that people that were positive, people that had positive thinking, people that always focused on the good side of things, I knew that somehow good things happen to them.
Mhm.
Sort of like that intuitive feeling. But as a kid, you're not really fully aware of that. You still want to, be cool with your friends. You still want to show off. You still want to
Right.
be part of the crowd, right? And so I sort of lost myself a little bit in that. And growing up, I was never a rebellious kid. I always was very regular, always followed the rules, never got into much trouble, even though I would do things sometimes that were worth getting into trouble, but never got caught, right?
Right. Right. Well, I understand. So, what was your first big aha with the law of attraction? What did you either manifest or stumbled into creating? What did you use the law of attraction for? And you were surprised and maybe said, "Oh my God, this stuff actually works." What was the turning point for you?
For sure. The turning point for me, I think, was my trip to Madrid. So when I went to Madrid, I went by myself. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends, any connections over there. It's my first time in Europe. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, nobody knows who I am, so I could be whoever I want to be. And this actually related back to a book that I read back in the day was Psycho Cybernetics
Oh,
by
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Yeah.
And so he talks a lot about identity shifting in that book. And so one of the concepts that I wanted to apply on that trip was to shift my identity, right? To
Right.
behave, to act, to be like I was someone else. And in doing that, I actually had a completely different experience in Madrid than I usually would have in Miami, which is where I grew up. And so that was the biggest shift for me, was realizing that I could be whoever I wanted to be, and I had no obligation to be who I was,
That's a
you know,
big insight.
in
How,
in the past.
how did you paint the new you? Was there a role model? Was there an image? Was there a character in a movie or a book? How did you know what you wanted to be?
Yeah, so I always yeah, so interesting that you say that. There's I always like to apply the concept of modeling, right?
Mhm.
Where you grab some sort of reference, right? Teacher, maybe some influencers. I remember back in the day, I used to watch a lot of travel YouTubers and things of that sort. And so I remember trying to grab their energy of, confidence, of being extroverted, of being social, and kind of referencing that and bringing that into my reality and then applying that to what I was experiencing at the time. And in doing that, I ended up attracting a lot of really cool experiences, meeting a lot of ton of cool people. And so
Yeah,
that is
what's
sort of
interesting
how
is
it worked out.
I love this. Thank you for sharing this. What's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting is, did you feel like you were a liar or an imposter during that period? And the reason I ask, and you've probably heard this too, is a lot of people, when they hear about either being somebody else or being their future self or trying affirmations or imagining a new reality, they don't quite get into it because they feel like they're lying, like they're being an imposter, like it's not believable. How did you step into, I'm this guy from Miami, but over here in Madrid, I am Antonio or whatever you were?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think for sure in the beginning it feels super uncomfortable. In the beginning it feels super uncomfortable. And I think sooner or later people are gonna find out, about your past life, and they're gonna find out about who you really are. So in the beginning, it is a little bit rough, that they um when you are stepping into that new identity, when you are stepping into the unknown. But I feel like the more consistently that you do it, the more real it becomes. And so when I came back to Miami, I instead of shifting back to the old identity that I was in, I tried to maintain the identity that I had created in Madrid when I did travel. And that's actually when I started writing those books and studying a little bit more of the law of attraction.
Oh,
I believe that, if you really want to solidify a new identity, there's only so long that you can fake it, right? Until you actually are it. And so when I came back, my whole purpose was to actually be the person that I said I wanted to be
mhm.
uh, back when I went to Madrid the first time.
this
So
is
that's when I started to focus a lot on discipline, on hard work, on studying business, and actually becoming that world traveler, right? Instead of just having that short period of freedom that I experienced.
this is cool. Did your family and friends look at you and say, "Who are you?" Where did they note the difference, or were they oblivious to it?
Yeah, yeah, they definitely noted the difference. Definitely
Oh,
noted the difference. I think,
mhm,
but it at the time I didn't really have that many friends, I could say. So
mhm.
every time I met someone new, every time I made a new friend, I used that as an opportunity to actually be someone new.
Mhm.
And actually, yesterday, funny you say that. Yesterday, I had a call with one of those buddies that I kind of separated from after I left high school, and I had a call with him. Uh, Really cool guy, and it's really interesting to see how much my life has changed and how much his life has changed over time.
Mhm.
And yeah, he I remember him saying, he's like, "Wow, man, you've really changed, especially the beard. The beard grew out from after high school." So he was really interested to hear about how my life had gone. So
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candace Barr. Order your copy today.
So you seem to be a law of attraction expert at this point because you've written several books, some of them on attracting money, and of course, the one I'm most recently reading is The Focus Manifesting, which is the 11 laws of manifestation to master your mind and attention. And what I'm curious about is, what do you see people doing wrong when they try to apply the law of attraction? Because in my experience, I've seen people watch The Secret and then they go, "Oh, I just have to sit in a chair and visualize, and then I'll go answer the door, and there'll be a romance or a check or a car or a bike." And there's a whole lot of magical thinking and a whole lot of steps left out. For you, having written all these books and this new one, and all your experience of recreating yourself, what do you see that people do wrong? Like, what's one of the top things?
yeah, so if we really dive deep into the foundational principles of the law of attraction and manifestation, I think the number one principle that underlies everything is where your attention goes, energy flows.
Mm.
So all of the techniques that I teach in my books as well, other people teach, people have talked about over the years, things like vision boards, affirmations, journaling, scripting, all of that stuff. All of it is really focused on having you give attention to your dream reality. And so at the core, manifestation is really all about knowing how to manage your attention and master your where you place your attention.
Mhm.
And when you can master your attention, then you can master where you choose to put your energy. And if you know where to put your energy, then you know how to grow the thing that you're giving your attention and energy to. Right.
That's a great answer. And of course, that's the focus of your book, Focus Manifesting. But at
Mm,
least the troublesome question that in today's society, in our time today of technological and scientific marvels, the distractions are insane. How in
yeah.
the world is somebody supposed to focus to manifest whatever they want when their iPhone
Hmm.
is pinging and the computer is buzzing and the doorbell's ringing and who knows what else is going on with the dog barking and the kids and they got work and they got this and they got that and something they want to do and something they want to read, and through all of this chaos, all of these distractions, they're thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to focus on, I want to attract my soulmate or attract my money."
Exactly.
How in the world? What is? Yeah, I guess I'm asking. What's the secret of focus manifesting?
Yeah. Yeah. So the secret is, this is something that I learned from a mentor a couple years back,
Hmm.
and it relates back to a story about Bruce Lee, right? Where Bruce Lee was in the dojo, just training, and two students came up to him and they asked him, "Bruce, how can I be great like you? How can I become a master at martial arts?" And so he took these two students to a table and he pulled out two cups. He pulled out a cup of water and a cup of Coca-Cola. I don't know if you're familiar with this
No,
story.
I don't know this
And then
particular
he said, so if you want what I have, to become a master at martial arts, you have to pour out what you know to be true. And so he poured out the cup of Coca-Cola so that I can fill your brain up with my knowledge. And then he refilled the cup with the water. And so essentially the whole process of manifestation for me boils down to emptying your cup. So emptying what you know to be true, emptying the things that you give your attention to, that you give your focus and energy to, and
Mhm.
then filling it up with things that you do want to give your attention to. They do want to believe and know to be true, the perspectives, the beliefs, um, your priorities, right? Which is a big topic in that new book. And so when you do this, it makes it so much easier for you to actually create the life that you want, because focus becomes effortless. If you design your life around prioritizing your dream, then everywhere you go, everyone you talk to, every video you watch, every book you read, every interaction you have throughout the day reinforces more and gives energy to the dream that you're trying to manifest. And so that's my whole philosophy: is decluttering, is, you know, letting go, is reducing all of the things that you give your attention to, and then really outlining what you do want to give your attention to and starting to prioritize those things so that you can actually take big steps forward into manifesting and creating the life that you want.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I really love your books. They're very simple, they're very direct. You have clarity there, and you have examples people can relate to. I don't have a whole lot of time with you, so I have to ask a couple harder questions, I guess. I want to help as many people as possible, so I'm going to invite you to pretend there's a woman who is unemployed, has 2 kids, is freaking out because she can't pay her rent. Maybe she's going through a divorce. So money's scarce. She doesn't know where the next meal's coming from. She's worried about her kid, maybe her health, and the world situation at that. And here you and I are telling her, just focus on what you want. Just select what you would like to have, do, or be. Let's visualize it. Let's distract or declutter your environment so that you're more focused on things. What would be something else you would tell her? The woman's about to go on a ledge. What do we say to her? What do you say to her to comfort her and to get her back in focus?
So I think in situations like that, I've had clients that have, gone through something similar, right? Where they are trying to transition from maybe a really stressful job to starting their own business. And what I usually say to that is you really want to start by training yourself to feel differently about your situation, right? Training yourself to feel differently, because I really think that when we're in states of anxiety, when we're in states of stress, of maybe depression, what the emotion causes is a thought, right? And when you are unable to feel a positive emotion, it's really difficult to think positive thoughts, right? It's really difficult to think about the dream when you're feeling the tension and the stress of your current reality, right? And so for that person, I would say the main thing would be to just train yourself to feel differently. And you could do that through meditations, through visualizations, separating time throughout the day to just train yourself to let go of your current state and really learning to accept where you are. And, obviously you're going to have to go after it. You're going to have to go look for that job. You're going to have to go and look for ways out of your current situation. But you want to try and see if you can do it from a state of acceptance, of neutralization, of neutrality, instead of coming at it from a place of stress, of anxiety, of anger, So for me, in the beginning, if someone is found, at rock bottom, then for me, it's just about training the emotion. So meditation, I think a daily meditation practice, learning how to just sit with your emotions and training yourself to feel differently, for me is one of the key practices that I teach.
That's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful answer. It's really about finding some sort of inner peace during the chaos that'll help carry you through. So I love that. Do you apparently work with people as a coach or a mentor or advisor of some sort? Do you have a success story that you like to talk about, the one that might inspire us and give us hope?
Yeah, so I've worked with a few different clients before. One of them was Asia. So Asia was actually the owner of a salon business. So I work with entrepreneurs specifically. For now, maybe in the future, I'll open up spots for more general public, but entrepreneurship is something that's always been near and dear to my heart. And so I like working with entrepreneurs. It inspires me. And so this one success story is actually Asia. So she was working at a salon business and she wanted to transition into day trading. And she was having a tough time at it because she had clients that she had to manage. She had people that she had committed her time and energy to, and she wasn't surrounded by the type of people that would focus on things like day trading, would do anything related to that new vision that she had outlined for herself. And so her whole process, our whole process with her, was essentially getting really clear about what she wanted her life to look like. And some of that looked like changing, her surroundings, right? So changing the people that she surrounded herself with, which is a huge part of everything. If you can change who you're talking to on a daily basis, the groups that you're a part of, if you can do just that you're already taking a huge step forward to creating the life that you want. And so one of the things that we helped her outline was the group of people that she would surround herself with. And so she ended up joining these new groups. And in doing that, she found new friends, new connections, and that helped her focus more on the day trading stuff that she was doing. It helped her create more of that discipline, more of that focus. Mm-hmm. And eventually she started making, the same income that she was making with the hair salon business, she started to make with her day trading. And so that's one of the success stories that we have. Another one is Angela, also is a mother of 2 kids, entrepreneur as well. She was stressed out. She had a lot of different offers for her business and her company, and she was handling a bunch of different clients. And it was coming from a place of a little bit of scarcity, right? She was making money, but she was sort of accepting everything just so that she can make ends meet. And in doing that, it stressed her out. It's scattered her attention, right? She spread herself super thin, and it was difficult for her to grow from the point that she had reached. And so our whole work was essentially getting clear on the one thing that she wanted to offer, and then reducing, eliminating, and decluttering all of the non-essentials in her business and in her life so that she can give full focus to the 2 things that mattered the most to her, which were her family and her business. Oh. And in doing that, she was able to, 10x her return from the initial investment into the program. And, it really, really changed her path. So.
Those are impressive stories. And I'm glad that you're working with people I didn't know that you were. Okay, I'll make this the last question because they're going to ask me to get out of the studio soon. And usually when I'm on calls like this and I do interviews, I always ask people, the show's called Zero Limits Living, the title of my next book. So do you feel we have any limits? With all these books you've written, the laws you've discovered, Focus Manifesting, your latest book, the work you've been doing, and you're going to live to be 100 at least, so you got a whole lot more you're going to be doing. Do you feel that we have any limits?
I think the only limits we have are the ones that we create for ourselves.
That's what I keep hearing.
Yeah. The only limits we have are the ones that we create for ourselves. So
that's what I keep hearing. Well, let me ask you this other question. Yeah, I'm going to sneak in another one. You knew I was going to interview you. Apparently you saw The Secret, so you knew who I was. Were you hoping I would ask a particular question? Were you rubbing your hands together going, oh, I hope Dr. Joe asked me this? Or were you looking for an opportunity to talk about some aspect of your work that hasn't been addressed or talked about before? Here's your chance.
Yeah, sure. So I can maybe talk about my coaching program, if you don't mind.
Sure. Of course.
So it actually follows a process that I kind of created over the years, and it's known as quantum streamlining. So quantum streamlining is a sort of process that I guide my clients through. And it's the process of essentially doing what we talked about earlier, right? Emptying your cup so that you can fill it up with the right information, with the right thoughts, with the right focus. And so the whole process that I guide my clients through is 6 weeks. And essentially what they go through is a series of, the first half essentially is emptying your cup. So it starts off with decluttering your environment, right? And auditing your circles. So it starts with the physical reality that you're trying to empty. But another big part also in emptying your cup is emptying what happens mentally. So you mentioned the distractions that happen externally, like the doorbell, the people calling, kids, family, friends. So there's a lot of external distractions that we have in today's world, but paired up with that are the internal distractions, right? The limiting beliefs the doubts, the fear, all of that stuff distracts us from focusing on the things that we want. And so when you can start emptying that and neutralizing all of those thoughts, then you can open a lot more space to build new beliefs and new perspectives. And so the first half of the program is essentially focused on emptying what you believe to be true and decluttering your physical environment. I focus on a lot of things related to like feng shui and auditing your circle and networking and whatnot. And then the second half of the program is focused on filling up your cup, right? On outlining all of the things that you want to start to believe, all of the perspectives that you want to start to embody. And then I, touch on a couple of other things related to manifesting abundance and creating more wealth and consistency in business, and freedom, which is another thing that maybe we could have talked about. We can talk about it another time. Is freedom, right?
Right.
A lot of people say, especially me in the beginning, I thought that I wanted money, and so I chased a lot of money. But what I really wanted was freedom, right? When you can focus on that energy, on the energy of freedom, then everything else sort of falls into place.
And where do people go if they're interested in your, what is it, quantum streamlining?
Quantum streamlining. Yeah.
Where do they go if they're interested in that coaching with you?
So at the moment it's closed, but I'm going to be opening up spots in August again. So the way that I do it is I do cohorts. So I do it about 2 to 3 times a year. I'll open up spots so people can apply. You can check out my website. So I have all the information on there. It's mntality.com without the E. So mntality.com.
Now, why did you choose Mntality.com, but without the E?
So funny story. So first off, Mntality.com was way too expensive with the E. And it was already taken by, I think, like a gym brand or something like that. But another thing also, there's a funny story that, one of the passwords that I used to use back in the day was created for my dad. And he always used to mention me and my brother. And so my name is Ryuu is just my pen name, just FYI for everyone. I'm not actually an old wise Japanese monk. So my regular name is Mateus, and my brother's name is Nico, is Nicholas. And so he would always create passwords with MN in the beginning. And so I thought it was interesting because my brother's also interested in law of attraction and manifestation. And so I thought it was the perfect name. So mntality.com, because it focuses on, the mind and whatnot.
Great.
So.
And you do sound like an old wise Japanese monk, only the difference is you're an old wise Japanese monk who's actually young and from Miami and an expert in the law of attraction. That makes you pretty unique.
Yeah.
Makes you pretty unique. Well, thank you very much for making time. I love your books. I love your energy. I love what you're doing. So it's great to meet you virtually here and get the word out for you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And the book that I've most recently been reading by Ryuu Shinohara is Focus Manifesting 11 Laws on Manifestation to Master Your Mind and Intention. Read all of his books. You can start with this one if you like. I'm Dr. Joe Vitale. You've been listening to or watching Zero Limits Living. You can now see it or hear it on 1,000 platforms, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and anything you can name. 1,000 platforms. Or just go to ZeroLimitsLivingTV.com and check out all the episodes. Check out miraclescoaching.com, mentaltimetaravelsystem.com, unexpectedkindnessbook.com, the new book coming out, ZeroLimitsLivingBook.com. Meanwhile, expect miracles. I love you.